Hello and welcome to Bitsbox World, Builds Made Easy. So these are some of my favourite quick and easy builds. I love how these industrial units look, and I really think they help to get your immersion ready. So in my other video, you can go back and watch that to see how I built these and how I put them together. And now I've sprayed them black and I'm ready to start adding the colours to them. So I like these sort of acrylic paints. You can get them fairly cheap in big bottles, and you want to just start painting up. And because I'm going to be doing 3 today, I'm going to go with different colours, and they're going to make up part of my industrial building that I'm going to be making. That'll be coming out in another video, part 3 of these industrial unit builds. So I'm going with a bit of a dark red to start off with, and what I want to do, I want to just take off all of the really thick paint so I can just get a nice coverage of any area that is going to be the sort of canister that is holding whatever material is in this, whether it's fuel or whether it's chemicals or something like that. So I'm just going to paint all of that under bit, the under container, just this red color, and starting off with quite a dark red, so then we can do some highlighting as we go up. So make sure you get all of the bits covered, and it doesn't matter if you go onto the sort of metal sheeting effect that we've glued onto the can, because we're going to be painting that later as well. And then it's worth thinking about how this container is going to look when you put it onto your battlefield, whether it's just going to be a bit of scatter terrain that you lay onto your battlefield, or whether you want it to be stood upright or on its side. So you want to make a decision on that, because that will affect how you're going to highlight your industrial unit. I'm going to do the same again, just with green this time, so a bit of green, and mix that in with some black to make a nice dark green for my undercoat on all of that container bits. And I've thought about the different colour coordination. I just like having lots of colour on my battlefield, so there's no real reason behind it. You could do them all the same colour if you wanted to, but I just like having a bit of colour on my battlefield. So today I'm going to be doing a green, a red, which you've seen me do the undercoat so far, and then I'm also going to be painting up a blue one as well. And these are all going to be interconnected when I build my industrial unit. Now, I do love this shade of blue. I've got a real heart for Space Marines. It was the first 40k unit, a bit like a lot of people, I guess. The first 40k models that I got were Space Marines, and that was, when was that? Probably 2002, I'd say, was the first time that I got my Space Marines, and loved painting those. Went with Ultramarines, obviously. That is the colour that everybody goes with initially, and then I branched out, and I quite like the Crimson Fists. I really like the off blue that they have with the sort of crimson red colour as well. They look really awesome. So when you've done all of your undercoat, you can then start to go a bit brighter. And this one, you want to take a lot of that thick paint off your brush on the paper towel, just so you're doing sort of quite a heavy dry brush with this. And with my red canister, that's going to be stood up on its end, so it's going to be nice and highlighted on the top, and then a bit darker on the bottom. And then I'm going to go one more shade up as well, almost to pink, and this is just going to be right on the edges, the bits that are going to be really hit by the light shining upon that from the angle that the light will be shining down. So as this is going to be stood up on its end, I'm going to do a bit of highlighting on the top here. And when you do that, you want to really take off a lot of the paint when you're doing your final highlighting. So it's only a 3-step highlighting, going from a dark color to a medium and then to a high colour as well. And you could go as many different highlights as you like, and as many different variants as you build up. But as I want to make these nice and quickly, I'm just going to go with a 3-step highlight on these. But I love this blue, ultramarine blue, just such a beautiful colour. So let me know what your first 40k army was that you were using. That would be great to kind of see where people started in the community. So the next thing, we're going to use a bit of metallic on this. So I've got some metallic silver, and this is going to be used for all of the sort of steel plating that we put on with the cardboard. And when you dry brush this over, it really starts to bring the container together, picking out those rivets and also doing a bit of highlighting as well. Just, it really starts to bring this industrial unit together. And I'm going to use some metallic gold as well. Usually I would go with a silver cap on these side sections, but I thought a bit of gold just to bring some more colour into this build as well. And I think it looks really effective, looks really nice, and a bit of change up just on the metal effect there. So I think I'm going to be using these industrial buildings in Kill Team. I've been playing a lot of Kill Team of late, and I've branched out away from Space Marines. I've been using Tau and some Kroot as well. Really, really nice, really like them. And Tau have got some stealth suits. Those guys are disgusting in the battle. So I've got some metallic copper as well, copper colour. I'm going to mix it with a bit of black, because what I want to do is I want to make these industrial units look a bit weathered. So I'm going to show you a couple of methods that I use. This is one of the first methods that I ever did, and it does come up quite nice. You can just rub this metallic copper colour over your metal sections, over your silver steel, and it makes it look like it's rusting a little bit, and gives it a nice weathered effect or an aged effect on that. And you can get the metallic copper in quite a big bottle, so you can use a lot of that and not have to worry so much about the cost. But if you did want them to look pristine, you can just leave them with that silver, the gold, and just the highlighting, and they do look really quite awesome, like they're brand new out of the packet and ready to go. But the second way that you could make these look weathered, a bit more costly, is using this Skag Brown that you get from Citadel Paints. It's a really nice colour for sort of rusting effect, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a sort of wash or drip effect onto my builds here, onto my containers, and I'm going to have 2 different thicknesses of this Skag Brown as well. So I've got one that is quite wet but still sort of painty, and that's going to be the first bit that I apply. So I just put a drop of that on, and that sort of holds where you place it. And then I want to start loading it with the water that I had painted earlier, and then it starts to run, and you get this rusty, runny effect, like if it's been rained on or water's come running down onto that. It makes this drippage effect, and that looks really, really cool and really good. And you can apply that all over your build like it's been sat out in the rain. So I'm thinking these industrial units, they were in a building of some variety, but the roof has been blown away and water has got in on these, and it looks quite daunting to start off with. It looks quite bright, but when it dries down to just a really nice rusty aesthetic, depending on how thick you paint that Skag Brown on. And I've applied it on all of these 3 different colours. Really, really nice. And this is an example of one that I did previously. And what you'll notice is I've also put on some posters or warning signs just to add to the aesthetic. And you don't have to stick to a 330ml can as well. You can branch out and use bigger, thicker, more slender cans, all different varieties. Now for my posters, all I did was find some Warhammer 40k imagery on the internet, and then I made them nice and small, and I've also got some graffiti as well just to add to the feel, and then some warning signs as well. These are just generic warning signs, and then you can start to apply these against your cans. So what I want to do is this one is going to be lying on its side. Get a bit of PVA glue, cut out the signage that you want to have on it. So this one's going to have a nice number just on that big flat section on the front, so we can see that that's container number 8, and then you can just stick it on. And then it just starts to add a bit more to those industrial units. So I've got some signage here that is going to be sort of the safety signage that was placed on this when it was built. And then I've got some posters that have been stuck on by various armies and different units that have gone by. So this one says obey. And then there's a secondary poster that also says obey, but has got an interesting insignia on it. And that's like that has been pasted over the top of the original one, but in a rush. And when you go over an edge, if you just run your nail along the edge, it kind of pulls it in. And then on the bottom here, I'm going to put some graffiti. Because someone always finds time in a broken down, dilapidated building to put some graffiti, don't they? So that just gives it an extra nice aesthetic on there. And then let's go Cadia. So for this, maybe this is on the planet Cadia. And the Canadian Guard. They're trying to get some promotion there, some propaganda, to just encourage the troops so they go out there and fight their fiercest fight for the Emperor. And with these, you literally can stick them anywhere on your build. So this is across many different sections of that steel, and what I'm just going to do is I'm gonna, like I said, run my nail along each edge, and what it does is it just gives it a really nice look, like it's been pasted on by somebody, and then it has been incorporated into that as well. And these posters, you can make them pristine and perfect like they are, or you can make them look a bit weathered as well. If you want to make them look weathered, just get the Skag Brown that we used earlier and run it over the very edge of each of the posters, so not across the whole thing, just across the edging, and that makes it look like it's been weathered along with the model. And I think they look really, really cool, really nice. A mixture of propaganda and the original signage that was on these, and they look ready to be put into my industrial build. So I'm thinking of connecting all of these together on a base and making a nice industrial build. And when I do that, that will be coming. But let me know what you think about these. Is this a nice and simple way just to recycle your cans and also build a bit of scatter scenery? And let me know if you're going to have a go at these. And thanks for joining me today. I will see you in the next one. Thanks for watching Bits Box World Builds Made Easy.